Now that Cedar Point is officially open for the 2025 season, and Siren's Curse is about to open up as well, it's time to start talking about the future, because when you visit the park, you're going to notice this ginormous plot of land where Snake River Falls once stood. So here's all my thoughts on when I think Cedar Point can be building their next coaster. Obviously, I think the location makes the most sense in the Snake River Falls plot of land, but would you believe me if I told you this ride could possibly be the largest coaster that Cedar Point has ever built? Yes, due to the size, the acreage. We're talking over 6.5 acres. More on that in a minute, and of course, this would not be a theme park Brandon video without sharing a few predictions as to maybe what type of coaster this could be. So lots of things to go over here. Cedar Point is really upping up their coaster game with Top Thrill 2 and now Siren's Curse. And if you kind of think Siren's Curse is going to be a mediocre hit, I think you're going to be wrong, honestly. This ride looks insane. It's not that tall, it's not that long, but you know, look at Maverick, right? Maverick's 105 feet, I think it is. So it's not tall, and Maverick is arguably definitely a top 3 coaster in the park. A lot of people's favorites. I really think Siren's Curse is a fantastic ride. Maybe not for Cedar Point due to the size, but if capacity was better, then I would think otherwise. But this style of ride would be great here. I wish there was 3 trains. But forget about Siren's Curse. Let's talk about this huge plot of land, because over the off season, Cedar Point removed not Siren's Curse, but Snake River Falls and their Sky Coaster. And what does that mean for the park? Because this area, Frontier Trail, there's multiple things. One, what I would love to see do is them to connect the Frontier Trail with the Gemini Midway and with the path going across Millennium Island. I just think that would be really good for the park. It'll be easier for all people to get around the park, for kids getting the Camp Snoopy area. I just think there's a lot of cool things that they could do. They can even open up a few flat rides on the Millennium Island there, or maybe even have the coaster station there to really draw the crowds in and tie the park in really nicely. But this area, again, as you can see, the Sky Coaster plus Snake River Falls, and then you have parts of Millennium Island this ride could utilize. Not to mention, but the water. You know, obviously they're not going to fill in this beautiful feature of Cedar Point, the lake in the middle of the park, but who knows? I mean, they can always build the ride over like they did with Millennium Force. Now, as far as the timing goes, it's tough because right now with Kings Island debuting a brand new family attraction, which they have not labeled it a roller coaster, but I feel like it is. I'm like 80% sure that it's going to be some form of a roller coaster coming to Kings Island in 2026. Obviously, Top Thrill or Wild Mouse 2023, Top Thrill 2 24, and then Siren's Curse 25. How many years will Cedar Point go by without adding in their next coaster? I think definitely 2027 is in the cards. I think that Kings Island will not get back-to-back coasters. So let's say if Kings, and obviously the reason why I bring up Kings Island is they're 3.5 hours apart, both in Ohio. I don't see the marketing sense and the business side of things to build 2 new coasters at the same, in the same state, same region, and during the same year. So if Kings Island got their family coaster in 2026, I think they'll be 2028, 2029 before their next major thrill coaster. Whereas that's where Cedar Point comes into play. I think 2027 or 2028. I would say probably 40% chance 2027 and 60% chance for 2028. And I do, again, think that this ride could be large. Obviously, the size of it, if they would utilize all this space, we're talking of a ride that would be theoretically larger than Millennium Force space-wise. Now, I don't think it's going to be taller than Top Thrill 2. I don't think it's going to be longer than Millennium Force. I'm just saying as far as the land size goes, this could take up more real estate than any other coaster in the history of Cedar Point. Now, far as my predictions go, and real fast, if you're not following me on X or Facebook, be sure to do so. You can find the links in the description of the video. And of course, I hope you become my newest subscriber, and always give the video a like. I've said in past videos, I think it's a really solid fit, but Mock Rides, Cedar Fair, Six Flags, they like working together. I could easily see this project coming from Mock Rides, whether that's a Mock Rides Extreme Spinner or a Mock Rides Striker coaster or some other type of coaster that Mock Ride offers. I honestly think it'll be really cool to have a Mock Rides Hyper Coaster at the park, because why not? Something like Hyperia would be awesome, a major Mock Rides Hyper Coaster that focuses on some airtime, inversions, and a crazy first drop. I mean, obviously they probably don't need another Hyper Coaster, but just saying, theoretically, it could possibly be that. But I think out of the Mock Rides portfolio, what makes the most sense would be Extreme Spinner. Again, I've said in past videos, I just think this is the most logical choice, especially if Great Adventure is building their Mock Rides Extreme Shuttle Spinner. So, who knows, maybe they purchased a package deal for this one, but that's a very marketable attraction for Cedar Point. And there's so many records there that could easily be broken, where I feel like it'd be silly if Cedar Point did not try to pursue that. Now, as far as the other type of coasters, there's a bunch. Could it be another B&M? I mean, sure, it could possibly be another B&M. Whether it's a B&M surf coaster or something else entirely, I would rather it not be. But again, who knows? But I really think one manufacturer out there, oh, and real fast before I say that, I think everyone can agree that Cedar Point needs a solid wooden coaster more than any other type of coaster out there. I, for one, would love to see a major GCI wooden twister coaster. Now, would they really do it right now with the price of wood, the maintenance costs, etc.? Probably not. It's more like a wishful thinking, but I think a Frontier Trail massive wooden coaster in this area would just be legit awesome. I think that would be really, really cool. Something, Mystic Timbers, Thunderhead, Gold Striker on steroids. But again, I feel like that's the least likely option, unfortunately. But the big one is Vekoma. Now, we all know that Vekoma just opened up a brand new office, or will be opening up a brand new office in Orlando, Florida. Now, this company that's based in the Netherlands is not going to be doing that if they do not have a laundry list of potential projects in America. We all know that Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood's phenomenal. Siren's Curse looks amazing. And then the one down in Texas, can't think of the name, Codaland, Circuit Breaker looks phenomenal as well. Vekoma is killing it. They are fantastic. And 15 years ago, 10 years ago, we would have never said that. But right now, Vekoma, they might just be the best manufacturer out there. And they have so many great rides in their bag that I think would really fit Cedar Point nicely. One would be a ride just like Big Bear Mountain. Now, I know that might not please the thrill seekers, but let me tell you, Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood is amazing. It is so much fun. I don't care who you are, what level of thrill you like. You're not going to get off that ride without having a smile on your face. That is a very smart investment for Cedar Point, having a ride that features 3, maybe 4 launches, some theming, that launches you all around this area, that would tie in the Frontier Trail beautifully in Frontier Town. That I would rather see that than a major thrill ride just for that reason alone. I feel like Cedar Point has the best collection of thrill coasters, but outside of that, their family coasters aren't that top notch. And when you look at what's the popular trend, Hagrid's at IOA, Hiccups Wing Gliders at Epic Universe, Big Bear Mountain. There's a reason why parks are building more and more of these. They bring in the families, and typically families spend more money in the parks. So I think that having something like Big Bear Mountain would be phenomenal. Now, there's 2 other rides out there that I think would be equally as cool. One would be a Vekoma Hypercoaster. Now, you might be thinking, why is he saying a Hypercoaster again? Well, Magnum was opened up in 1989. Then we have Millennium Force in 2000, which is the Giga Coaster. So it would be really cool for Cedar Point to debut yet another coaster over 200 feet tall. And we know that Vekoma has really comfortable trains, and they're capable of building a coaster of this height. And I would love a hypercoaster that has some modern twist and airtime hills. You know, no offense to Magnum, but it's also really old. But a kind of ride that focuses on airtime, inversions, maybe more of a compact layout. There's a lot of cool things that Cedar Point could do with this in Vekoma. Just imagine taking a Vekoma Blitz coaster, just like Let Coaster that you can find over in Poland, but adding on 60 to 70 feet to that. Now, that would be a top 3 ride in the park for me, at least, if it was that large. You know, there's always ways to parks to create new rides that have new elements. And the last one, I really like it. I really think it'd be really cool for Cedar Point to finally build a brand new flying coaster. But this time it's from Vekoma. And this would be legit awesome for them to be able to build this style of ride, just like FLY over at Phantasialand in Germany, that features a compact or a not compact layout filled with inversions, near-miss elements, and really cool theming. These are expensive, and it all depends on exactly how much Cedar Point wants to spend, but a ride like this in this area, again, would be phenomenal. I just think that these Vekoma coasters, the flying ones, I think we're going to see some more coming up, hopefully. I'm a little alarmed that it's been 5 years or whatever it is since Fly opened up. It might be longer than that. I know that they, again, come with a hefty price tag, but apparently everyone loves that ride. It looks great. So I would really, really like to see Cedar Point open up that style of ride. It's very marketable for the park. And just imagine having the theme fit in with the whole entire Frontier Trail. Like, it'll be really cool to see what Vekoma and Six Flags can do with that. Now, to give you a recap, my 3 predictions would be the Mock Rides Extreme Spinner, then a slight chance the GCI. I wish it would, but I just don't think that's the least likely. And then obviously the flying coaster from Vekoma. Again, there's so many other types of rides that it very well could be. I don't think it's an Intamin, unfortunately. I don't think it's the RMC T-Rex, unfortunately. And Gerstlauer, maybe. Like, I would like that, but again, there's so many different pieces to this. So now, if you like Cedar Point just like I do, then you'll want to check out the spotlight video at the bottom of your screen, where I list out all the coasters at Cedar Point based on the height, featuring the tallest coasters at Cedar Point. You definitely want to check that out, because I think you're going to be surprised by a few of the placements. With that being said, what's your thoughts and predictions for Cedar Point's next coaster? You know what to do, let me know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.